Hey y'all! Day 5 of the Karen Read retrial kicked off with Judge Beverly Cannone doing her usual vibe check on the jury. No Googling, no gossip, no TikToks, we good. The jury all nodded like obedient middle schoolers trying to pass homeroom. Honestly, I love that the judge does this check-in. It's the only time we really see some sort of "are y'all behaving" accountability in the courtroom. And the jurors all pretending like they weren't dying to search Karen Read Reddit theories is honestly Oscar-worthy. So let's start with Commonwealth's witness number 11, Ian Whiffin. Cellbrite's own forensics nerd-in-chief took the stand, and oh boy, did he bring receipts. The defense has been hanging on to this 2:27:40 a.m. Google search like it's the smoking gun. But Ian, he brought the cold, hard, technically devastating truth. That timestamp isn't when the search happened. It's when the browser tab was brought into focus. That's it. No typing, no murdery panic search, just a tab doing tab things. Whiffin had one mission: explain that iPhones aren't time-traveling lie detectors. The 2:27 timestamp is basically as relevant as when you last looked at your Pinterest board. And he did it all while staying calm, professional, and just a little smug in the nerdiest way possible. I love me a good tech nerd. In part 2, Whiffin brought in a PowerPoint to explain the difference between browser tab events and actual user activity. Tabs don't always update their timestamps when you switch pages. Sometimes they don't update at all, especially on iOS 15, the version running on Jennifer McCabe's phone. Safari tabs store their info in memory first, so when the 2:27 a.m. time appears in the data, it could just mean the tab was reopened, not that someone Googled anything sinister in that moment. The Commonwealth clearly thought that the search timeline was damning, but this testimony dismantled it piece by piece. Whiffin basically said, "Your Honor, respectfully, this ain't how phones work," and I kind of live for it. At this point, we hit the OJP detour, a little courtroom housekeeping and logistics before the next expert gets called. Not much to report here other than everyone rehydrating and whispering behind folders. This is the legal version of the "we'll be right back after these messages" screen. Next up, Dr. Daniel Wolfe, a proposed expert for Voir questioning. The courtroom needed to figure out if he qualified as an expert to testify. The lawyers went full academia. What degrees? What publications? What's your area of focus? And does your science match the story we're trying to sell? Honestly, Voir feels like speed dating meets peer review. Hi, I'm Dan. I study insert hyper-specific brain science and would like to legally flex about it. Loved every second of it. And finally, we meet Dr. Andrew Rantchler, who also went through Voir. His specialty? Neurobiology. But the real question was, does his testimony help the defense, or is it another cool flex but not relevant situation? At this point, the courtroom was basically one more PhD away from qualifying as a TED Talk. But hey, if you're gonna confuse a jury, do it with long words and graphs. So here's what I'm still chewing on after day 5, and you should be too. We watched the prosecution bring out a tech timestamp that it was like a smoking gun, only to have Cellbrite's own digital forensic wizard, Ian Whiffin, step up and say, "Actually, your bullet? That's a soap bubble." That 2:27:40 a.m. search? It wasn't a search at all. It was the browser tab being brought into focus, maybe opened, but maybe not. And if you're running iOS 15 like Jennifer McCabe's phone was, you're not even getting that info in real time. You're getting a cached tab memory that might have just been sitting there waiting to cause a courtroom meltdown. Let me say this again for the people in the back. Timestamps can lie. Not on purpose, of course. Your phone isn't scheming, but because interpreting digital artifacts requires context. Whiffin showed us that just because a timestamp exists doesn't mean it's when something happened. It might mean when something was viewed, clicked, or simply a tab blinked back to life like a zombie in a crime browser. And the prosecution? They were trying to use that timestamp to say someone, Jennifer, knew too much too soon. But after today, that theory is hanging on by a thread, and that thread is fraying. Look, whether you think Karen Read is guilty, innocent, or railroaded by a town that couldn't organize a bake sale without a cover-up, this right here is why tech forensics matters. The wrong interpretation of a timestamp can ruin someone's life. The wrong assumption about a web search, that can shift a jury's gut. And this case has enough twists already. We don't need iOS adding more. What we saw today was a forensic expert calmly and explicitly pull the rug out from under the narrative that's been repeated for months, maybe years. This isn't just about proving Karen Read didn't do something. It's about the possibility that the Commonwealth doesn't fully understand the very data they are presenting. So now the jury has to wonder how many other facts in this case are misunderstood. Are we going to hear more forensic experts who clarify things that prosecution Are we going to hear more forensic experts who clarify things that the prosecution misrepresented? Are we relying on Google searches while ignoring basic forensic science? And most importantly, if Ian Whiffin hadn't testified, would this timestamp still be painted as the moment everything changed? Because the truth is, in a case built on timelines, phone data, and public perception, misinterpreting a single digital artifact can create an entire false narrative. One misread timestamp becomes the foundation for motive. One assumption about a Google search becomes proof of guilt. And one expert testimony like Whiffin's, it doesn't just poke holes in that narrative, it rips it wide open. This wasn't just clarification. This was a forensic bombshell delivered with calm, confidence, and a British accent. It's the kind of moment that reframes an entire case. And if the jury was paying attention, it might be the turning point they didn't see coming. And that's it for this recap. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching and supporting me. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss any of my recaps. And remember, stay safe, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.